All these were made by my mother. There are many things here.
Taguhi Mansuryan demanded her ex-husband Taguhi Mansuryan to be sentenced to life imprisonment for killing her mother and attempting to assassinate her and her father. On November 2020, the court sentenced him to 19 years in prison. On July 8, 2016, during a quarrel on the steps of the building in Yerevan, Armenia, Taguhi Mansuryan stabbed Karine, Taguhi and Vachagan Mansuryan. As a result, Taguhi's mother, Karine Mansuryan, died. Father and daughter Taguhi and Vachagan were taken to hospital with serious injuries.
When I was discharged from the hospital, it was very difficult. I felt lonely. I didn't know how to move forward, how to manage both domestic and outside work. Because I have such a son, my son inspired me. You have to be strong for him. You have to work to live. Life goes on because there is a child. I found the strength in myself to live for my child, for my father. I started going to work.
According to Taguhi, violence against her began in 2014, 1 month after her marriage. When she found out she was expecting a baby, she decided to move to her parents' home after many threats and beatings, as well as the risk of losing her child. Dispatches continued in Taguhi's paternal home. For another fight, Mansuryan came up with an axe came to a tragic end. She says even though she had applied to the police several times, but there was not any result.
Our police don't protect or support people in any way. Nobody needs us now. It turns out that way. When I called the police, I said I was already ashamed to call you every time. They didn't take any steps at all, because several times Vladik signed that he would not approach this house, he would not abuse, he would not hit me. The police have collected so many signatures that he will never come close. But when the police take a signature, they must also follow it so that there is no violence.
In 2020, about 400 cases of domestic violence happened in Armenia, investigative committee announced. According to the police, 1,043 people are registered as an abuser in Armenia, and 3 of them are minors. According to Hasmik Gevorkyan, program manager of the Women's Support Center, the number has increased during COVID. Women turn to their center when they are in extreme condition and have nowhere to go.
Women who have been subjected to domestic violence are really isolated from society. We often have cases when, for example, a woman ran away from home during a COVID and she didn't see more than 1,000 drams, didn't know the amounts, because her husband deprived her of money, contacts outside shopping. She didn't have basic household skills. Mostly women who are deprived of everything come to the shelter. According to our shelter statistics, we have 2 shelters. About 80% of women don't return to the abuser. Maybe the specifics in Armenia are different because women come to the shelter in the most extreme condition. When there is no way to forgive, to reconcile, it reaches the last point, and they turn to for help.
According to Gevorkyan, not every woman speaks loudly about violence because they are afraid of society, but Taguhi did. In order to rule out such incidents, Taguhi said it is important to raise people's legal awareness, yet teaching kindergarten and school that violence is doomed. With her activities, she is now living and supporting NGOs who is protecting these kinds of women's rights. In 2020, she opened her own beauty salon. It was a hard year, but life will continue, she says.
Last year, in 2020, I decided to open my own salon to work alone as a manicurist, as a makeup artist, as a cosmetologist. I succeed. It was a difficult year, and the infection and the war were, of course, a painful year for whole our nation. But life in general has shown me that we have to be a fighter. Life is difficult for everyone in different forms. You just have to be strong, patient in your decision, move forward. Sometimes there are moments when you are depressed, you need help, but in any case, you gather your strength to move forward on your own. It doesn't matter whether a person has a relative or a friend, he is mostly alone in his life.
Hoppa, sniga, sniga.